Start the April 23rd, 2026 Vision Fund Committee meeting. Number 1 item, call to order. Do I do that?
Member Schmitz,
Here.
Stugelmeyer,
Here.
Peterson,
Here.
Member Scher just walked in.
Okay, great. We'll start with number 2, open up for public comments. Anybody here for public comments? Okay, I see none. Move on to item number 3, approval of the meeting minutes.
I'll motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have to approve?
I can call roll.
Okay.
Member Schmitz,
Yes.
Stugelmeyer,
Yes.
Scher,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Item number 4, receive the Vision Fund financial statements, and I understand we have them, but we don't have anybody to give a presentation. So do we have any discussion about them, or?
There's really not much change month to month this month, other than just a little activity, private interest income, and
Yeah, I agree.
The only question I had on the loan information on page 7 for the last project that we funded, that's Sura LLC, that there's a difference. It says difference $94,274. Is that an error? Jason, could you maybe speak to that? Because every other one, we've only gotten pay down on one loan, and that should be, the pay down should be the difference there in payments we've received to revolve the fund. And that Sura still had the $94,000 difference. I was just curious, not a huge deal, but.
Yeah, we will follow up with our finance folks next week. Our acting finance director is away from the office this week, but we'll definitely make a note and report back at the next meeting what the explanation is there.
Sounds great. Thank you. Moving on to item number 5, extension of Simply Golden Properties.
Thank you, Committee Chair Peterson, Acting Committee Chair Peterson. Noah Vroman, Chamber EDC. As you recall, Simply You Wellness, otherwise known as Simply Golden Properties, was awarded a Vision Fund match on May 13th, 2025. They have reached almost the end of that 12-month term to start drawing funds. They're still in their construction phase, yet to go to permanent financing. They're requesting a 9-month extension. They're aiming to just move this fall on that, but they'd like a little bit of cushion just in case something were to happen. Happy to stand for any questions. I've talked with the project about it.
Thank you.
I'll motion to approve the extension.
Is there a second?
Second.
Member Stugelmeyer,
Yes.
Scher,
Yes.
Schmitz,
yes.
and Peterson.
Yes. Thank you, Noah. Item number 6, 43 Land LLC application.
Perfect. Yeah, so I'll give a little bit of background on the project. Application is 43 Land, otherwise known as Shoot 360, would be the operator. They are looking at purchasing and building on 3302 4481 Coleman Street is the actual physical project address in Bismarck, up north off of 43rd. They are looking at, so the final amount will be set later, closer to closing. So I don't have a final amount for you right now. The rest of the actual project valuations are set on the uses and sources table. And I will let you talk to the project after they present. They have a little bit of a presentation that will go over what the project and what the final look will be for the end goal. So.
Well, hey everyone. I know Luke Mormon's there to present in person. I'm Ben Woodside. I appreciate the time and allowing us just to present to you here a little bit. I'm in Fargo right now. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there in person. I'd like to, but I had a different prior obligation. But we just have a little slideshow presentation that we're going to go over, and I would like to discuss any more detail with you guys if you have any questions and whatnot. But we're here just to talk about our project and see if we have a chance at the Vision Fund. Being I'm remote, is there a slideshow that's being shown to you guys right now? I can't see anything, so just curious if that's up.
It looks like they're working on it.
Okay. Well, I can just give you, while they're working on it, I can just give you a little macro level, a high level of what the project is. And then once that presentation gets up, we can just dive into a couple bullet points of more specific items. What we have going in North Bismarck there is what's called Shoot 360. And what Shoot 360 is, it's a basketball shooting facility that's a franchise. They're a global franchise. It's a very, very unique franchise. It's unique in the sense that there's probably about 50 of them globally. And what a Shoot 360 is they have patented a technology that allows kids, individuals that want to come in and shoot, how to create a perfect shot. So that's the arc, the depth, and left and right. So they have this NOAA technology that it's patented, and it gives kids the opportunity to see each one of their shots that they shoot. It explains the shot. It explains why a shot is short. It explains why a shot would be left or right. And the other unique thing of what kids can utilize is there could be a kid in Turkey, a different country, where 360 is located, and they could shoot against a kid live in a different country or a different state where there's another 360. So there's a shooting aspect to 360, and there's a ball handling, and it's all technology based with this patent. Along with that, so that's one portion of our project. Along with that is we're having a full size gym. We're going to end up calling it the Bismarck Sports Academy. And what we're going to host in this gym is basketball for youth basketball, right? You got kindergarten through 8th grade. We're going to host volleyball, skills and camps and all that for youth kids in the area. So there's basketball and volleyball in the gym. And then also on the north side of the project, we're having hitting cages for baseball. And so we're going to end up having, it's called the hit tracks in this facility. And if you guys have ever been to a golf simulator, it's like a golf simulator except for baseball or softball. And so kids can, when they're in our hitting bays, they can hit and they can see the velocity, the exit velocity, the speed of their bat, all the ancillary items that you'd see on like a golf simulator, except it's for baseball or softball. So we have kind of two, it's all one project. It all encompasses basketball, volleyball, baseball, or softball. But I just kind of wanted to give you a high level of the difference between what Shoot 360 is. It's a franchise, and it's a basketball shooting franchise. And then what we're also bringing to Bismarck on an ancillary item, even though it'll still be in the same building, is another gym for kids, basketball camps, volleyball camps, individual training, baseball hitting, working on mechanics for baseball with the hit tracks. So I just wanted to give you a high level rundown on it is all one project. It's just kind of split up between two different avenues, if you will, between the franchise and then also the one gym. So it looks like we got the presentation, so we can kind of go through that. But just a high level, I want to give you that information quick. Go ahead to the next slide here. So as we've mentioned, or as I talked about, it's technologically innovation on the 360 side. A lot of this is data driven. So it's extremely data driven in the hopes to help the kid improve based on exactly what the kid is doing and shooting at that time. So it's live data and feedback for the development of the kid or the individual that is shooting in that basketball bay. Obviously, we're here for the community. We're here to help kids improve, to build confidence. We do have coaches when kids sign up to access one of our shooting bays. We do have coaches and staff on hand that will be helping them with their technique, that will be helping them with their form, that will be helping them with their shot, with their ball handling. So it is, there is data driven, but we will have staff on site at all times that are helping these kids develop a better basketball game. Our staff, just speaking of staff quickly here, in about probably about 2 to 3 years, we'll end up employing 3 to 4 full-time staff employees, and then we'll have about 10 to 12 or 12 to 15 part-time employees. And the part-time employees are going to be individuals that look to come in for a summer job, right? They want to come in, they work, or they play basketball at UMary, or they play basketball at college. They want to come just get some part-time work in the summer or on the weekends. That's a lot of our staffing on the part-time side is going to be. Luke, who's on site right now, or on site right now, he's going to be the GM and actually overseeing the entire facility. And so Luke will be full-time, and then we'll have, like I said, in about 3 years, we'll have another 3 people under Luke to help manage the operations of our entire facility. Luke is a owner in the operating side, and I'm going to give Luke his kudos right now, even though he doesn't like it a lot. But I've known Luke for many years. Obviously, we played basketball together, and you'll learn about us on the next slide. But Luke has a tremendous relationship with people in Bismarck, not only on a kid's side from being in the public school system, but on a basketball standpoint. He's well versed, obviously, in basketball, has great relationship with individuals in town. He's held to a high standard. He's a high-class guy, and it'll be phenomenal for our operation to have him at the helm, running the operation with his knowledge, his expertise of basketball, but also his community involvement that he's had for many, many years here. I think 15 to 17, but you can jump in, Worms. I'm not sure. 15 to 17 years in as a teacher.
Yeah, so I can introduce myself here quick, but I'm Luke Mormon. Scrambled over here from school actually, and I've had Joel's kids in class. So no, they were good. They were good. But graduated from Dickinson in 2004. Got to go play basketball with Ben at NDSU. Had some great experiences there. And then got my first teaching job at Simley Middle School, where I've been ever since. And so currently in my last year of teaching now, but super excited for this opportunity. And I've been running an AAU basketball program as well. It's something that really helps with this. I know a lot of the athletic directors in the state. We have kids from Minnesota to Montana that play in our program. And so I've been running that for 12 seasons now, and we've actually just merged with Sanford on that last year. I'm also the athletic director at St. Mary's Academy, so the middle school. This is my second year of that. And so just excited for this opportunity and to get to be a part of this. So I'll go to the next slide where you can just see a little bit about Ben.
Yeah, and hello again. I graduated from Albert Lee High School. Played basketball with I call him Morms. I'm thinking like like a buddy. played basketball with Luke at NDSU. Graduated there, and I went and played professionally overseas for 8 years. Got back about 7 years ago. Settled down in Fargo, um, where family lives. Got a wife and 3 kiddos. Actually, got a 4-month-old. So it's pretty wild when you got to go from zone from man to man. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me, and looking forward to having this establishment in Bismarck, and we can keep going here. Next slide. Okay, so this slide, I hope you guys can see this. This is a interior drawing of exactly what it's going to look like. I'm not sure how well you guys can see it, but as you can see on the horizontal rectangle, that's where our 360 side will be. So there's 5 shooting bays on that side, and there's 5 ball handling bays on that side. There's a little vestibule. You have a little check-in area. You got 2 bathrooms on the main level, and then on the top left-hand corner there's actually going to be a mezzanine where people can go and watch their son or daughter while they shoot, and there's some seating area up there, and kids can go change and go shoot. But that's the 360 side. You can see there's 5 shooting bays and 5 ball handling bays. Attached to that, and in the middle of that entire drawing, there's a door. There'll be double doors. That takes you into I'm going to call it the north-south, or the long rectangle. That is the ancillary gym that we are talking about, more youth program with kids from kindergarten to 9th, 10th grade, individual training, group trainings for basketball and volleyball. So we'll house basketball and volleyball, individual and also group and camps in that full gym there. Then on the north of that gym, it's about 1,800 square feet, and that is where we're going to have 2 hitting bays. There's a door on the east side of that hitting bays where people can access from the outside, but you can also access it through the gym. So that is where our baseball hitting and softball hitting bays will be at. So really, you got the hitting on the north side for baseball, softball. Yeah, volleyball and basketball for big groups, for individual training, for camps. Then on the right-hand side is where the 360 shooting and ball handling will be located.
And we got some pictures here that are just zoomed in a little bit. I can just scroll through those quick. Those are the 5 shooting bays on the top there, the 5 dribbling bays on the bottom. Kind of our entrance area with the mezzanine up above. Those stairwell there.
So let me just, if you guys just got 1 minute, let me explain that 360 side quick. So just to give you guys a grasp, and we'll have some renderings here, but before the renderings, each one of those bays has nets that come down that separate each of those pie shapes. So there also be, we call it a shooting gun, where you'll shoot and then the gun passes it back to you. Okay, so each one of those pie shapes is separated by netting so that there's not balls flying around. Kids aren't running into each other. And each one of those bays has the NOAA technology that we're talking about. The ball handling bays, kids really like that because 360 has combined almost like video games. So you'll have a screen and it'll teach you ball handling moves, and it'll have you do those ball handling moves and throw the ball against the screen to squash a bug, right? And you get a certain amount of points for that. So it's very interactive, almost like a gaming system on the ball handling side as well.
There's just a close-up of our full court gym with the batting cage on the left-hand side. There's the dimensions of the gym and the turf there. And then here's some of those renderings.
Yeah, so this is what they'll look like. So there's some seating in the 360 side by the shooting bays and ball handling. You can see the nets in some of these renderings where the net comes down and divides each pie shape. The top right-hand picture obviously will have an entrance and a check-in area, and then you see the stairs there that go up to the mezzanine up above. Um, and then the bottom right-hand, you can kind of see there's ball handling bays and shooting bays just from a kind of a bird's eye view. This is the top left-hand picture. This is the full court that's going to be on there. So we're going to have 6 baskets in there. Um, the middle baskets are going to stay at 10 feet, but the side baskets will be able to move them up and down for younger kids and to be able to reach the basket. This is renderings of what the outside will look like. And I believe on the picture it says Bismarck Basketball Academy, but we're gonna name it the Sports Academy, as we have multiple different sports activities in the ancillary gym there. But this is a rendering of what the facility outside will look like.
Disregard all those trees. I'm not sure where those came from up there. Those don't exist. Ben talked a little bit about this already, but these are those projections of our employees and average full-time salaries.
Yeah, so we're looking at, like I said, 3 to 4, 12 to 15 part-time. We're going to have a payroll of, down the road here in a few years of excess of $250,000. Obviously, this project, in my opinion, brings a lot to Bismarck, not only from the fundamental side of basketball and kids' youth development and all that, but also from property tax, right? It was just raw ground before. We're building a nice facility that the city is going to be able to utilize, tax us on, make money on the tax side of things. I don't have that's a number that the city would have to obviously assess and determine. Projects that I've done before, we're probably looking at 30 to 50,000. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but that'll bring obviously revenue for the city. I believe that because of the camps that we're going to be holding, Luke has tremendous contacts with individuals in the NBA. And so we're looking at bringing people in from the NBA, like a Grant Nelson, to host camp there, which will influx people from all over the state, whether that's hotels, restaurants, staying there. We hold a multiple day camp with Grant Nelson there, or I am very close with NDSU head coach Dave Richmond, MSUM coach Jason Kemp, and we will bring players out for camps out there from both of those colleges, which would utilize and influx people into Bismarck to attend these camps, to spend money in Bismarck, to get hotels, and to be part of the camp that we host. Morms, you want to talk a little bit about, like team training and all that?
Yeah, like you said with the camps, we'd like to bring in some outside guys, and just through the AAU experiences I've had, that's where we have those connections to bring those guys back and give back to the community and bring kids. I mean, kind of like Bismarck has with Overnight Extreme, right? They have kids come from all over for the cross-training camps. The NIL deal stuff, we've already talked with our old coach from MSUM. He'd love to bring all those kids out. We pay their players, and they host camp with the kids that we have coming in. The team training stuff, I have some buddies who coach around, Minot, Dickinson, Jamestown, and bringing them out and kind of doing a team bonding thing, bringing those kids out and having them be a part of it for a day, get to use the bays, have a camp in the gym then afterwards, do some things like that. And so this one's more local, but Rick Newman reached out to me yesterday and wants to meet up he just said, I've heard this is coming, that you're doing this. We'd love to get our girls involved and either summer work or we do summer training with them, and also do some sort of NIL stuff that he's got in mind. So I'm meeting with him next week. Obviously, those athletes are more local, but we have that with NDSU, MSUM, Jamestown, kind of connections all over to bring those guys out, and they're more than willing to do that to help out their players and get their name out there too. So,
let me just one other outside funding opportunities is that what we're looking to do as well. So obviously a majority of our individuals in this facility is going to be kids, right? Well, we want to utilize the gym, let's say the ancillary gym, as much as possible. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to partner with local daycares, let's say, and allow daycares to come in and utilize our gym with our blow-up bouncy houses. We're getting bouncy houses and allowing opportunities for these daycares or these bigger child centers to come in and utilize their gym space. So it's different than just basketball and volleyball and baseball and softball, but it's opportunities for other businesses in the community to utilize our facility, like a daycare, where they can come in, reserve a time for an hour to get, some 5-year-olds time on the bouncy houses and the opportunity to come and do that. The other aspect, and I think Luke would be a better individual to talk to, is the homeschooling aspect for kids that are homeschooled.
Yeah, that's another. I have a couple friends who homeschool their kids and got talking about this, about I mean, apparently it's bigger than I thought for homeschooling, but they kind of have this community of kids, and to maybe bring them in and do some sort of credit that they have to get to get their FIED requirements met. And so I'm going to meet with their group of people and kind of talk about what that would look like, or they come in and we do some sort of classes or games or things that we do. And the other thing that's unique that I wanted to bring up too is my principal at Simley, Russ Reel, has done a phenomenal job of the mental health stuff with, I think through Sanford is what they do, of bringing them in and meeting with our kids. And his son Riley, we've also talked with him about coming in and doing some stuff with our athletes of dealing with adversity and things like that. Just the mental health side of stuff, to incorporate them maybe into our camps for 15 minutes, where they come in and speak to our athletes about what does it look like if you get cut in high school? What does it look like if you make the B team in middle school and your friends made the A team? And so, we just got a lot of cool things we're excited about. And is there anything else, Ben, that you want to add in?
Is that the last slide, Morms?
Yep.
Okay. No, I think, we can open it up for questions. I know it's kind of a lot. It's drinking through a fire hose with all that information. But the big thing is the uniqueness, the community involvement that we want to be a part of, the incentive for the city to have this type of development, the jobs that it'll create, opportunity for kids is obviously one of our biggest things, and there's nothing like it in Bismarck. There can't be anything else like it in Bismarck because we have the territory rights, and so it's a pretty cool project that I know I'm super proud of and excited about, and I know Luke is too. So if you guys have any questions, we're here to answer them, and would love to hear any questions you have.
Thank you for the presentation. Questions?
I do have a question. This is Mike Schmitz, and it's probably more about just the facility itself. How special use is it, especially with the portion that's dedicated to the 360? Is it, but my fear is a building goes up and somehow, down the road you're not successful, or you decide to move on. How easy is it to repurpose, or are we having a very specialized use building?
Well, that's a great question, Mike. In terms of specialized, you could turn it into, once you remove the equipment, you could turn it into what you want. I mean, really at that point you have it's not built on pole barn, but you'd have basically 2 pole barn buildings connected, whether that's a shop for a local contractor now, whether that's, you got an electrical contractor and they need storage space. The biggest component of that, what we have here, is just we'd have to remove the equipment and you still have your facility there. Now, would you have to make some updates, like some overhead doors to, be able to get your equipment and stuff? Sure. But it's not like a gas station where, okay, that sole purpose of that gas station is a gas station. You can't make that an office. You can't make that a storage facility. It's a station. Where this isn't, it's not a one use, because technically you could remove the equipment, you can remove the floor, and under the floor it's just concrete. And so sure, you might have to have a couple renovations, overhead doors for this example, but you can repurpose it for something else.
And not that I want you to fail, but I want to make sure I'm not funding something that down the road becomes maybe an albatross.
I certainly don't want it to fail either, and I don't think it will, but that's,
I do
there's
think
always some risk, I guess.
you're bringing something unique. I thank you for your presentation. I know I'm told Noah to make sure that you brought some of this data so we understand what you're bringing to the community, not just a building, but the opportunity for some enhanced economic activity.
My question kind of feeds into that a little bit. So super unique facility, everything like that, mentioned like the 50 in the world for that. So how confident are you guys that there's the demand for this, and what do revenue projections look like?
Great question. So I think the demand is very high. I know Bismarck is I'm a basketball junkie, so I might be looking down this on a one road aspect here, but from what I've seen over the years, Bismarck is it's a lot more of a basketball town than than Fargo. I think that there is not a lot of competition. I can think of one person right now, and then I can think of another group that's trying to do some basketball type facility, but there is little to no competition in Bismarck right now, which is a lot different than Fargo. And I'm not comparing, it's just because I live here and I see the different pockets of competition on the basketball realm. Bismarck doesn't have that. Bismarck does not have a basketball facility like this that kids can utilize, that they can get better at, that's all encompassed for basketball, volleyball, baseball, softball. So to me, the demand is there and the competition is not there, which in my mind makes it, hopefully a successful.
Yeah, and I can
Now,
add in too, Ben. I mean, Fargo's book solid all the time. Pretty much every hour that they're open. When school's done, and then in the summer. And so I also think volleyball out here is kind of an untapped market at the younger ages. My daughter loves volleyball, and there's obviously the YMCA does some great stuff, and then there's all the JO stuff. But just for like second grade to eighth grade skill work, I mean that's something that I feel we don't have much of. That I think we could literally fill our gym just on volleyball stuff. But really when you crack down the numbers of our schools and how many kids we would need to kind of have our gym fully booked, I mean, we were talking, it was like 5 kids per grade level at a school. It's not a lot to have it when you put it that way with Bismarck Mandan and, Shiloh added in there and St. Mary's. And, it was, we got down to the numbers. We're like, wow, that's really not that many kids. And I just feel through being a teacher and connected to all the schools and talking to a lot of the coaches here in town, I don't see us having a problem of keeping this, going consistently with kids, especially with the technology and perfecting their shots, which is, why a lot of kids, I think, you see with girls basketball, it's kind of a dying sport as they get older, to try to keep those kids involved, to give them some success, to really help them. It comes down to can they score or not, and do they feel they don't have a purpose because they can't maybe, or they don't have a good shot. And I think even more than just the shot side of it, but just building confidence with these kids, and we're just really excited about that too.
And one other answer to your question there was, so the 360 side is membership based.
Yep.
So it's all membership based. We highly believe there's a significant demand for it. And in Fargo, they had a waiting list of 75 people or families. Again, Bismarck doesn't have the competition like Fargo. And we feel the demand, we will have to have a waiting list. And if you get off that waiting list, or if you get off our membership, then you have to go and you want to reapply. You have to get part of that on that waiting list and wait it out again. And so I think that's a telltale sign of how well we think it's going to go.
What does it cost?
Membership's right around 150 to 160.
Yeah.
That gets you unlimited. Basically, in a day, you can do 30 minutes of shooting, 30 minutes of ball handling. So you can be on for an hour between the two.
And that's unlimited amount of time. Now, worst talk for that aspect, we're talking specifically for the 360 side.
Yep.
The ancillary gym side will be, my kids do it, part of it here in Fargo. It's K through 1, right? Kindergarten and first grade, they have after school basketball for an hour, and there's a group of 12 kids. And so that side is different than the 360 side. The ancillary basketball side is not membership based. That's all sign up. You can sign up this month. If you don't want to sign up next month, you don't have to. But the membership side's on the 360 side.
And I think
so we're kind of talking about two
to answer her
different.
question a little bit, I think it's there's a point where you cap out and we wouldn't take members, right? I mean, we don't.
Right.
What we don't want, and we've talked to Fargo about this when we went out to corporate in Portland. We talked to them about this. What you don't want is people calling saying, "I have a membership and I can't get in," right? And so yeah, we understand that. We know where that cap kind of is, and you kind of just got to teeter with that. Whether do we got to scale back on a few members and we cut it down, or can we add a few more in? Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a couple maybe clarification. Can you break down ownership structure for me? So is the land holding LLC is different than the operating entity? Am I correct in saying that?
You are correct in saying that, being that Luke is part of the ownership in the operating entity.
Okay. I just noticed on the scoring matrix, it scored a 0 on that, so I wasn't sure how that breakdown. Because it's you and Ray that owned the land, I'm assuming, and then Luke, you have ownership in the operational side. That's okay.
So Ray and I own the real estate, land and building, and then Luke is in the ownership and has majority ownership in the operating side with Ray and I.
Okay.
But the reason why it scored a 0 is, I think is because the application is for 43 land. Even though we have ownership on the operating side, the real estate side, Luke isn't a part of. But in my mind, it's more important to have somebody on the operating side in the ownership on something like this, because the operating side is what's paying your P&I. And
Yep.
so we scored a 0 because it was for 43 land, the application, but in reality, we got a guy that's the majority owner in the operation in Bismarck.
Yep. No, I totally understand that. Just wanted clarification from the application. And then my next clarification question would be, I don't know, could we approve something that doesn't have a dollar amount in there, being we don't know? And I think I know how this works, but I would think we'd need to put a dollar amount in there.
And that dollar amount, are you referencing total project costs, or what are you?
No,
on
so,
the dollar?
nope, so
Our
that's
buy down.
Yep, so that would be the amount of vision fund requested. So if you look at your anticipated, from Bank of North Dakota, the flex pace dollars, that would be the community buy down amount. So I'm thinking that it would be assumed, Noah, that it would be that 107,692.30. But I mean, if we're going to approve this or, send it to the city of commission, I mean, we should have a dollar amount in there.
And I didn't know. I don't know if that was for us to put on there. I guess I didn't know the answer to that. So
Right, but that's what we're approving here, that dollar amount. That's the vision fund, portion is the community portion of that. So, just based on my professional knowledge in the banking world, I think that would be the dollar amount that we'd need to put in there for right now. Noah, do you want to speak to that?
Noah, then, yeah.
Yep. Thank you for the question. So they were still figuring out some of that last minute stuff, which is why we have this draft one from B&D with this amounts that you referenced, the 107,692. You could choose to put that amount forward, and if they needed to change it, they'd have to go back to you guys and then have to go to city commission and get it changed. For the moment, I think, Jeff, if you can talk to it, if there's going to be a change sooner rather than later, that'd be great.
The whole idea was.
I knew I was
sorry.
gonna make you work today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. Jeff Evink, I work at First International. I know Ben, I know Luke on this project, so there's a lot of kind of behind the scenes stuff that is not all finalized. We felt it was important to get in front of the committee here to kind of explain the project, have Luke explain, how important this will be for the community of basketballs. I'm also a basketball junkie, just like the rest of these guys. So there's not anything like this in town. There's a lot of stuff that does need to be figured out behind the scenes yet, but we just thought it was important enough to try to get in front of the group, show what the project looks like, and I get that, there's a dollar amount specific to this, but if anything would change, we could bring that back. So.
But Jeff, how fast would you be closing? Because that becomes another question. I can get my head around the concept and the dollars. I think there's a way we can do our motion as far as a recommendation of the city commission, but we, as you've witnessed, we struggle sometimes with 1 year being too short to get everything done.
Right. Well, and as far as the financing side of it goes, that isn't all finalized either yet. So I was just here as support. There is work being done. I think Luke said there was some approval stuff that was done today. Yeah. So there'll be work happening now. If it's not a real specific facility, so we see construction projects that take 18 months, like the other one you were talking about earlier. So I don't feel like it's going to be something that's 12 months long if they get going right away. So.
No, and I can talk on that behalf. So we just got approval from the city for a building permit and site permit. So they're going to start scraping on Monday. So to work with Jeff and end up getting closing, we'd obviously have to get that done sooner than later. It wouldn't be pushed out multiple months here, as they are starting to work on Monday, and we did get approval from the city.
Okay.
Right now, they have an estimated time of December 1st being done and us opening, of this year.
What do you think that magic number is of people you could serve, or members you'd take in a month?
Are you as the maximum, or are you talking break even, or?
You said that there was like a magic number that would make it so everybody would have about as much access to the shooting as they wanted. Like, I was just wondering about how many families that is, or how many kids that is.
We think it's around the 325, anywhere from 300
Yep.
to 350, that 325. And some of the Shoot 360s are different. Some have 4 bays of each. We have 5. Some have 6. It's just all based on their buildings of the 50 that are out there. But that's what we see comparing to Fargo.
And if I just jump in quick, what corporate always says, and we don't believe it necessarily, is they said you can get 100 kids per bay. So technically on their terms, because we could host 500 kids. Now, in reality, could we make that work? Probably not. We'd have to have a bigger facility, more, a lot more space. So we've done due diligence in saying, okay, the 325, the 350, that's probably ideal in what we could house with the time frame we have, the size of building, the number of bays.
Without people being disgruntled about not getting their time, yeah.
Any additional questions? Any discussion? I know this one got a 8 on our matrix.
So could you guys could you explain to me, this is my first time ever with Vision Fund or, anything like this. Could you break down how that works for me a little bit, just on like you talked about the funding that's available, and I get the whole concept of Vision Fund, but how would that articulate to us if we did get approved? Can anybody speak on that?
I can kind of, and then others can chime in that have been around longer, maybe. So the scoring matrix gives us a reference a little bit of like kind of the standard criteria of whether we recommend to move forward or not. And so based on how yours is scored, you're at an 8. And so for me, when I look at that, if you look at it, it's minimal, but the factors in that, to Joel's point of operating ownership is local. And so that's a factor where the scoring matrix itself doesn't determine are you approved or not, but helps us inform for our decision. And so as I'm looking at this, it's like this is a significant investment, cool, unique opportunity too. And you guys have good points for like what it brings to the community, but at the same time, I am waffling on what is the projections of like how confident are we that this is going to be a success in total too, because it is a significant investment. So that's where my head's at while I'm looking at this, is that, okay, you scored an 8. I'm giving some leeway a little bit because of that ownership piece. The other one that scored against you, and that's why I spoke to projections, is that question number 6 on the matrix is you get 0 points if you're 0 to 10% or a startup. And so that's why I was asking about projections to better understand what's up ahead. How soon will this be kind of operational and in the green versus are you operating at a loss while you build up programming for a couple of years? What does that look like?
And to further, so on the startup, I think later on, well, I don't know if we're going to get to it today because of whatever the time limits might be, but we're actually looking at making some recommended changes to how the matrix is done. A startup is getting 0 points there, and that's not fair. And so we're looking how that can be adjusted. And I, along with the other members, believe that probably should have gotten some credit for the local ownership in the operating entity and actually the staffing that's going into the operating entity that really isn't being reflected in your application. And that's probably some things we need to work on policy wise. To go back, we were pretty inactive for, I don't know, Jason Tomanik would have to tell me, but probably 10 years. Didn't have many requests for vision fund assistance. And so we kind of opened up the door and tried to create a matrix, and all of a sudden we got things coming that were not as unique as this. Then we started funding, and then we started to pull back. Okay, where we don't want to get too far out on our skis. So
Okay.
There's other shooting places in town though, right? They just don't have the analyzing capabilities, right?
You mean like by just going and shoot around, or like the shooting gun? Yeah, you have something that. Correct. Yeah, that exists everywhere. Yeah, that you can something that passes you the ball that you shoot it and you don't have to go rebound it. But as far as any analytics, nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, and growth potential, like, I mean, you have 3 full-time, 10 part-time, but it'll always forever be a shooting facility, like it's not, I don't know what it would change into, or,
Just that side of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That part of the gym. Yep.
okay.
Yeah, and on the projections, I mean, I don't think I disclose like our pro forma and our projections, but we, prior to opening, we funnel what's called a pipeline in our founding members. So our first roughly 150 families or individuals will be on the founding members side for this is just 360 now, just talking the 360 side, and they'll get a little bit of a discount. So before we open, we're going to have hopefully 150 members at least that are going to want to be part of the 360, that are going to be allocated the founding member. And so we'll know from the day the doors open, we'll have revenue coming in based on those memberships. And those memberships the revenue kicks on as soon as we clarify an open date.
No, I think this is a great value add to Bismarck. And I do appreciate you guys looking at, some of these other avenues too, like the homeschooled kids. I think that's a great idea, what you guys have going there. So with that, I'm going to make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
do we want to put something in that motion that says up to whatever our commitment is, up to the 107,000, because that's probably the max anyway.
Correct. That's going to be the max on it anyway. So I say we approve up to that 107 number.
Is there a second?
I would second that.
Further discussion?
My only point would be, this has been great for the Vision Fund. I would suggest that you get more to the specifics points when you get to the city commission presentation. I don't know that, I don't want you to leave out too much, but if you spend an hour in front of the city commission on this, you might lose some of the commissioners.
Agreed.
Roll call, please.
Member Scher?
Yes.
I just told these guys I just want to give you.
Member Schmitz?
Yes.
Member Stubelmeyer?
Yes.
Member Peterson?
No. Item number 7, JAB investments.
Thank you, guys.
Perfect. Again, you have in your packets an application for Glance Spa and Salon, otherwise known as JAB Investments, for the local match of the B&D's FlexPace program. Their amount is up to $70,431.87 commitment from the Vision Fund. The project will be located at 407 North 4th Street, where they are currently located. Andrea is the owner, Andrea Burst. She is online, available for questions. Heather is here. She's an employee. She's going to run through the presentation for y'all.
I promise I'll make it short and sweet. Good. Okay, perfect. Okay, so my name is Heather Pizzolatis, and my sister, like he said, is on the phone, Andrea Burst, and I manage Glance Spa and Salon. And we have been in business since 2009, like you said, on the corner of 4th and Rosser, so 16 years in business. And we are very grateful that we have a really good reputation for excellence in the salon and spa industry in our community. We are one of the community's only full-service spa and salon. There's a lot of salons around town, but we are one of the truly the only full-servicing salon and spa in the area. We are a team salon, and we do believe in community, innovation, and growth. We invite you to come check us out, but we definitely do a lot in the community, and you can see that on our website and Facebook and all of that. As far as remodel plans, we are working with Endeavor North Design. They are wonderful. We are really looking to modernize our spa area. Our salon has had improvements and updates throughout the years. Our spa has virtually remained untouched. So we are looking to create a really cohesive, functional treatment space, not only for our guests, but also our team members. We are looking at updating plumbing, electrical, windows, flooring, bathroom, basically enhancing the entire space, the entire spa area. We really do believe that this will support long-term growth for our business. This is a few photos that Endeavor has put together for us. We have our spa area. We have pedicures down on our salon floor. We are looking at bringing them to the spa area just to maximize space and efficiency. You can see our nail area there as well, and one of the mock treatment rooms as well. So what kind of community impact will this have? This will strengthen the wellness and self-care industry in the Bismarck community. I'm sure you guys have heard it is a hot industry right now. All of the self-care and wellness, and we're here for it. We're excited about that. It will create a welcoming, accessible, functional destination spot for Bismarck. Our salon is thriving. It is a very busy business. We are very grateful for that, but we just know this will take it to the next level. This project will make it easier for our clients to incorporate wellness and self-care into their daily routines. This will also enhance the vibrancy of our downtown Bismarck area by attracting consistent foot traffic. And we have been in business for 16 years, and this project really will reinforce Glance's longstanding commitment to serving the Bismarck area for the next 16 plus years. What will this do for employment? We currently have 12 full-time employees, and I do just have to say it is a very freeing and good feeling to work for a community driven entrepreneur. Andrea, the sky really is the limit. So I do feel that these numbers could be even more. After post remodel, we expect and plan to have additional 5 full-time employees, as well as 2 part-time employees. This is a 5-year projection, and we truly believe that. And this remodel will attract local talent, but it'll also create career and economic growth for Bismarck. So why us? Why Glance Spa and Salon? First and foremost, we do love our community. That's evident in everything we do. We love Bismarck. We're committed to Bismarck. We are established, local, thriving business, and we're grateful for that. We are committed to growth. We are committed to positive community and economic impact. So that's what I have. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Heather.
Yes.
Any questions?
What's the projected increase in taxable value of the facility?
Andrea, are you on?
Yes, I am on. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
The growth in the value of our space is approximately $340,000 post remodel. That doesn't speak to the growth of our income, but just the value of the property.
So that's the anticipated new appraised value
Correct.
Correct.
or increase in appraised value? Okay, thank you.
Increase of appraised value, yes. Yep.
Will you be offering any new services with this new remodel, like specifically that are unique to your business only?
Yes. So
I can speak.
Oh, perfect. Take it, Andrea.
Sure. If you guys can hear me okay, I'll speak to that too. Yes, we are planning to offer a few new services, which we haven't been able to offer thus far. In our spa area, we are going to create a wet treatment area that will house some head spa beds with wet body treatment beds as well. We will also have a body healing, red light therapy, and sauna space to offer those wellness treatments to our guests as well.
On the scoring sheet, the question number 7, is the project providing an unmet or undermet need in the city of Bismarck, wasn't answered. Do you think that it is providing an unmet need?
I did speak to that a little bit in some of the paragraphs that I submitted. I do believe it is fulfilling an unmet need. I think Heather touched on it a little bit, specifically to the fact that I do love that Glance is a full service salon and spa. There is very few businesses like that welcome guests to come in and have all their needs taken care of in one establishment. We look to be able to provide that further with this remodel. With our current space right now, we can't offer these services as well as we would like, just because we have lack of plumbing and electrical, and it's just really hard to even attract talent to work up there or make these services even possible. So to me, the unmet need would be obviously just the downtown area itself and the all-encompassing business that we can offer.
Thank you for clarifying.
How much of the improvements is plumbing and HVAC related, electrical related, that is probably specific to your business?
What was that, Mike? Can you repeat that?
How much of can you hear me?
Now we can, yes.
Yep, I can.
How much of the improvement dollars that are being spent is for plumbing, electrical, or HVAC that is specific to your business, i.e. another business would not be able to use it?
Not much of it is truly specific to our business. The only thing that's coming to my mind right now would be in one treatment room specific with certain plumbing that has to come up through the floor in a certain area for 2 beds. Otherwise, the majority of the plumbing and electrical work would be not specific to a spa or salon, other than those 2 treatment rooms specifically.
Pretty universal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This might be a question for you, Mayor Schmitz, or Andrea, for you. I'm curious for projects that have Renaissance Zone, in this case, they've applied for that. How is that factored in and weighed in the decision, or like what's your thought process when seeing that?
I haven't gone back to history, so I apologize. Did you previously qualify for Renaissance Zone treatment?
Yes, it has not gone to commission.
Mayor Schmitz and committee members, this is Jason Tmonik. I believe the request for the Renaissance Zone exemption is on the agenda for the City Commission this coming Tuesday. So this request predates that. Maybe the biggest differentiator between the two, the Renaissance Zone program is a 5-year property tax exemption for businesses that qualify through significant improvements, and those improvements are tied to the facility. If they were to leave, it's something they would leave behind. So equipment and specialty things, not applicable, but they would be significant improvements to the building. And in this case, the building owner is requesting a 5-year property tax exemption based on those improvements. And then similar to the previous Vision Fund request where you have a holding company and an operating company, it's my understanding the operating company is thereby, because of the investments being made by the holding company, the operating company is eligible to qualify for a 5-year state income tax exemption on the revenue that the business generates at that location. Andrea, did I get that all right?
Yep, you did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So,
And I probably should have been able to know that, but I haven't been able to get to the agenda for the City Commission meeting yet. So apologize, but
it was just posted yesterday evening, so the packet hasn't been out there yet. But I guess to just say it as quickly as I can, the biggest difference between the Renaissance Zone program and the Vision Fund program, the Renaissance Zone is a 5-year property tax exemption for the holding company and a 5-year state business income tax exemption for the operating company, whereas the Vision Fund is what it is. It's a buy down. So,
Are there concerns with using both?
committee members, at this time, there is nothing that prohibits any entity from utilizing multiple incentive packages.
I think it's an interesting project. I just don't know, like, it's like a remodel. I feel like a lot of times we've funded new stuff. Maybe we have done a few remodels. I don't know. And I don't know then what's going to happen going forward, but I don't know. Mike?
my other concern is, and this is nothing against Glance Salon, I think they are a great community partner, but this is not a unique business all in of itself. It's got a lot of services that other people are providing within the community, whereas the last one we heard is quite unique and different from they've differentiated themselves. And it's not brand new construction, but that's part of why we've got other discussions coming up either later today or in our next meeting as to what is our targeted industry. So I'm struggling on this one a little bit more, and I just am.
I do remember we denied a similar type of facility. It was going to be a brand new one, but an expansion of a business, a salon one a few years ago. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around how this would be different, but.
I think the part that I appreciate in the application with it is the increase of revenue for what it will bring them, but I agree with those same concerns though. So I'm also kind of struggling a little bit, but like seeing that it's going to boost revenue for what that brings, both to the community and for that, but I'm struggling in general too.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion?
I do have
Is
a
there any
business.
other questions?
I have a professional relationship with the applicant. So I would, before we would, take anything to vote or anything like that, I would, leave that up to the committee members on, whether they would want me to vote or not.
I know you didn't vote on one other project, right, in the past? Or did we just say
Jo-
you could? I can't
No, I
remember.
ended up voting on
Did
it.
you
Yep,
vote? Oh, okay.
yep,
Well,
yep.
then,
Well, the question is, what's the relationship, Joel?
Professional, in my industry of banking. So no individual benefit, for me, for this project going through, obviously, but.
I guess I'd be fine with Joel voting.
Yeah, I think if there's no individual benefit, then I don't have concern with that.
Okay, do we have a motion for anything?
I think my recommendation would be this should go to the North Dakota Opportunity Fund for the local match.
Is there a second?
I'll second that, and then we should have some further discussion as well.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
So on the timeline, Noah, you might need to speak to this. So would we be able, or Mayor Schmitz as well, would we be able to send that recommendation with that motion to the city commission so it would get on the next city commission meeting when possible?
If they make that choice, it could hit the first commission meeting in May, which will be the next one out. It wouldn't be next Tuesday because the agenda is already posted.
Can someone clarify what the motion was again? It was, sorry.
Well, it wasn't technically a motion. It
Okay.
wasn't technically a motion.
Okay, I
The
thought you kind of made a motion, but maybe it wasn't. Okay. So wait, okay, so I guess we need a technical motion then. Does someone want to?
Well, so our motion would be, I guess if I was gonna make a motion, my motion would be to deny, but recommend they apply for the letter of support from the city commission.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so just one clarification. The motion is to deny, right? So voting yes is we're denying. Okay. I've never done it that way. Thank you.
Mayor Schmitz?
Yes.
Member Sugelmeyer?
Yes.
Member Scher?
Yes.
Member Peterson?
Yes.
Thank you. No, it's all good. Yep.
Item number 8, Vision Fund budget discussion. I don't know who has a Vision Fund budget discussion. Item 8 and then 9 is policy
Yes.
discussion.
Thank you, committee member Peterson. I think you guys made a brief mention to timing. Do we still have time? That'd be a,
It's up to the rest of them, as long as the room is available.
we have 4 proposals, 4 motions. So maybe we try and hit the budget one because that is just a singular one. But the other 3 would maybe benefit from a longer discussion in May.
I just wonder, since we're missing Mike too, like I feel like he's got a lot of
That's fair.
history.
Would you like to at least talk through them and not make any motions if you have?
Yeah, why don't you
I
talk
like that,
through
yeah.
them? Let us
Okay.
have a heads up.
Yes.
But I think
Yeah.
I would like Mike's input on this.
Phenomenal. So we have 4 motions in front of you. One of them is a budgetary one with 2 options for y'all. Set annual disbursement from the City of Bismarck General Fund of a certain amount of dollars above what's currently distributed for economic development, that $250 that's currently annual. This would be set for Vision Fund use, primarily for that flex-based match. So that would be up to y'all's discussion at a later date of what you would recommend to the City Commission because it's monetary. what amount. There is a second option there if you were to choose to do that, which would establish a floor or a ceiling where if it was hit, it would trigger in a request, which could be incorporated into that first motion or enacted by itself.
Do you have a recommendation between the two options of like, are these like equally weighted in your opinion, or where is your head at for that?
I think where it's at right now is that motion option 1 is the cleanest, and that motion option 2 could be used to tag along, depending on what would work best from a city commission monetary request vehicle.
So if I can speak to it a little bit, this would be a request first to the budget committee for the city. The budget committee would put forth in their budget from general fund an allocation. If the budget committee doesn't support it, then the next step would be probably when we run out of the pool of money to go directly to the city commission and ask for an additional allocation, potentially out of another source of funds that's really economic development related, which is the Northern Plains Commerce Center.
Any further questions on that motion? Things we'd have to talk about are which one you would want to choose and what that X amount of dollars would be.
So when is our meeting in May again? What's the date of it? It's the fourth week, right? Fourth Thursday?
Correct, fourth Thursday. It would be 28th.
May 28th.
Okay. That I will tell you, we need to make the recommendation by then for sure, or it will not hit this budget cycle. It may even be tight at that. I don't know, Jason.
We would also have, Mr. Mayor, another 2 applications right now pending for Vision Fund, 1 or 2, that would make it on that May 1.
Well, I mean, I think, what's the mayor's recommendation on these amounts that he thinks the city would be willing to put in every year at an annual disbursement? I don't even have a handle on what that would be.
I will. My gut tells me, and we have some limitations within the city on what revenues are available. I would like to see where the city starts to dedicate some dollars to the Vision Fund to be used for these loans, and ultimately the loan pool maybe still self-funds itself with repayments. If we think we're going to have 3, 4, or 5 kind of max fundings at around that $107,000 a year, that's the math. So somewhere around $500,000 in addition to the $250,000 that's being currently put into the Vision Fund to pay for the economic development activities of the 2 organizations that are providing contracted services. I don't know that will get through. That's a pretty big ask. And I don't know how our budget's going to look yet. So, but I do think it's important to get the requests there. And maybe it's up to, if we don't ask, it's never going to get in the budget.
Well, I guess since the timing of that one is kind of critical, maybe we do push that one, or we discuss pushing that one forward. I think Mike, I don't know, I guess I can't speak for him, but what are you guys' thoughts on motion 1 and 2? Like Noah said, motion 1 and then have a fallback to 2, kind of they going hand in hand.
I'm curious others' perspective too. Is it worth doing like kind of mashing the 2 together a little bit of a smaller annual disbursement every year, and then where like we will agree that we'll go and ask when needed after that, so we recognize it's not going to like fund every project there, but it starts to set some aside. And so I would kind of lean on you, Mayor Schmitz, for maybe your thoughts on that, but that, when hearing you talk, came to mind.
I go back in history, which I'm only going to go back from what I've learned and followed history for the last 40 years. There was a dedicated amount set aside every year out of the sales tax. And Jason, you can probably help me get to the number, but that kind of ended in somewhere around 2010, did it not, Jason?
I believe you are correct, yes.
And so that's because we no longer had much activity going on. I think if we were so successful as to get $250,000 for projects moving forward, that would be a pretty big first step. Um, and then we could put in there that we will cap any dollars we have in our available pool of dollars at $500,000. Never will we ask if we have more than $500,000, because that's kind of 1 year's fund. Maybe, I mean, historically it's been. Now, obviously, we're starting to get some activity here. 2 more coming next week or next month. I don't know what the validity of those are, but also we are going to be talking about how we maybe have more targeted industries that then no one the chamber EDC can say to the applicant, you got a long shot making it through this because it doesn't fit A, B, C, or D.
So do we have to make a motion to do these motions, or I don't know.
So I'll take a stab at it. If I would make a motion that we put a request to the budget committee to consider for the 2027 budget year, in addition to the $250,000 for economic development contract, an additional $250,000 for Vision Fund loan capacity. And I would leave the other portion, and that's it. I wouldn't address the go and ask if we need, because that can always happen.
I would second that.
Is there a second? Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay. You want to call for a vote?
Mayor Schmitz?
Yes.
Member Sugelmeyer?
Yes.
Member Scher?
Yes.
Member Peterson?
Yes. Okay. Motion passes. The other ones, Noah, can you give us a quick
Yeah, I can
overview
give you
on
guys
what they
a,
are and if they might need more discussion with Mike
Yes.
being here?
a quick 1-2 punch of the remaining 3 policy discussions. So there'd be a target industry advisory board that would be led by the Chamber of EDC, the Chamber EDC's economic development team, and primarily a member of this board would be the Vice President of Economic Development of the Chamber EDC, who would sit with the Bank of North Dakota, City of Bismarck, and North Dakota Department of Commerce, provide recommendations to that board. The Chamber EDC would provide recommendations to that board. And then that board would decide on, like you said, like an A, B, C, D, an A, B, C, an A, B, or just an A target industry for that year. And that target industry would get a designated scoring advantage on that matrix. Nuts and bolts of it.
Would one of the members of that advisory committee be from this Vision Fund or somebody else from within the city?
That is a good point, Mr. Mayor. I would imagined it when I was thinking of it as an employee, just so it would have continuity. But I would imagine also a member of the Vision Fund would also have continuity. It would depend on what the Vision Fund would decide.
I know previously when this was discussed, I want to say maybe in February even, just the concept of this. I feel like it was mentioned in passing that it would be good to have someone also from the Vision Fund just at this, speaking from a reference. I agree not chairing it by any means, but I do think that would be good perspective in there, is my thought.
I could make note of that and change it before you guys would see it with Mike and vote on it. Ultimately, this board would recommend it to the Vision Fund, but the Vision Fund being there would also, I think, benefit that group. And
Do you guys disagree? Is that unnecessary? It's not a hill I'd die on either way, so.
No, I agree with you. I think would be good.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I guess this one seems basic too, and not a lot of discussion. The other ones, it looks like, would be changing some of our matrix, and I think maybe I'd rather wait on that one to discuss, but I guess, is there a motion for this item?
Yeah, I would be comfortable with that adjustment of having someone from the Vision Fund represented within the committee, forming a committee per what you had described for this. So, motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Take a vote.
Member Stugelmeyer,
Yes.
Member Scher,
Yes.
Mayor Schmitz,
Yes.
Member Peterson.
Yes. Okay. The update to item 6 on the scoring matrix.
So, like Commissioner Share or Committee Member Share mentioned today, question 6 does ding startups at the moment, and we were trying to evaluate a way that would help alleviate that and still have a benchmark that would be relevant for startups. So we established, instead of a percentage based off of past revenue, we would have a set dollar amount. If the Vision Fund were to see it fit to have a different monetary benchmarks for each one of those point values, Chamber EDC would be more than happy to change that to reflect.
I think I was the one that kind of brought this issue up a couple meetings ago, and I fully support the proposed changes in regards to the matrix. I think it makes a lot of sense, and we can't penalize these startup businesses because they're important to our community. So
I also support the change. The part that I'm wondering for like the revenue buckets for if they're a new startup business is like how we came to those numbers and what that looks like. Just kind of curious for that part of like how you decided on like 0 to 200, for example, versus higher revenue for more points kind of thing. And I know I'm putting you on the spot, so I'm
Yes.
sorry.
I think Mr. Mayor would be a good person to also ask that question too, but it was kind of just a starting point to talk to you all.
And my biggest thing I'll clarify is I'm just like, I want to make sure that that's what we want for growth in businesses or what we want that target to be before assigning the point value to it. But I love the concept overall. I'm just like, is that what the realistic, like, yes, this is good for our local economy. And so this makes sense for Vision Fund to be investing in for those point values.
yeah, I know when they initially did this matrix at the chamber a couple of years ago, or when this started, I know the big thing was they reached out to a lot of these other funds throughout the state. So I don't know if they got some of these numbers from some of the other, cities, Williston, Jamestown, places that utilize their funds a little bit more than we do. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I know that's where the scoring matrix was derived and a lot of the key stuff in there. So I don't know if you guys looked at that, Noah, when you guys recently made these proposed changes or not, but.
I did not
To be
reach out.
honest, it was just let's start something for a discussion to pull it out of, there's no scientific method to it. I can tell you startup businesses could start with, year one, $50,000, or they could have $1 million of revenue. Honestly, it probably doesn't really matter as much as how sustainable it is beyond that, but we have to start with something. I don't know that $50,000 or even $200,000 of new revenue, generates really significant value in the city of Bismarck in year 1, 2, or 3. But it's open to discussion. But if we're looking at somebody who's going to potentially invest in some real estate, I would guess they're going to have more than $200,000 of revenue in their projection in year 1. But I can't start with 0 to 0, and it's up to you. That's why this is a discussion. We just want to, I think it's got to be, for startups, it's got to be some expectation of what their revenue projection is going to be. And the higher the number, the more point value. So 0 to 200, it probably isn't getting very many points, right? 200 to $1 million gets more, whatever. We can have that scale however we want. And since we're presented today, I didn't expect that we'd have a decision on this today, as much as get it in front of everybody to start thinking about what numbers make sense. When I meet with clients that would be looking at starting something, they're probably going to be looking at least $1 million of revenue, or they're not going to even start unless it's a pure professional business. That's a different story.
And this could be, if I could maybe pull from going and talk to other development groups, I could go and talk to some lenders in town. I could also average what we've been, and go back and contact prior Vision Fund projects that are startups and see what they had in the first 3 years of their actuals, and compare that to if they had 3 years of projections before starting. I think Mr. Mayor and I were just trying to get something down.
I think it's, yeah, I like that we're continually modifying this matrix. I think it's a helpful tool since I've started. I've been on the Vision Fund a long time. I think it definitely helps guide us in the process, and it's, yeah, meant to change. It sounds like the mayor said he wanted to just get it out there. Maybe we don't vote on it today. Is that what he was thinking? And we can
Yeah,
wait and
I don't
have a
think-
discussion next month.
That's my recommendation. I just needed it to get in front of everybody, so there was some time to let it marinate or fester.
Yeah, sounds good. How about we move on to the last one, or should we wait on this one too? What's this last one?
I can just preview it, and you guys
Okay.
don't have to put anything to it. I'd like to
Thank
actually
you.
put this letter of support in front of you before you were to do something with it. But this would be to establish a standardized scoring matrix that would be administered by the city commission upon recommendation by the Vision Fund, which would kind of put an extra step in this letter of support, but then also give the chamber EDC and the city commission a bit more distinction between projects coming in asking for letters of support. I know that there's been some additional conversations about how the city commission is supposed to evaluate these letters of supports when they come in, and this would be a tool that they could use to evaluate projects asking for the city's letter of support.
Those would be. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, this is an important thing on how this works in the banking world. I can speak to that a little bit. So, are we saying that is the Vision Fund just generating the scoring matrix and giving guidelines to that, or would they come to us kind of similar to what just happened to the project, what we did, right? We said, hey, this probably isn't what the Vision Fund should be used for, but we do want the city, we're telling the city to give a recommendation of doing it with utilizing another fund, which would be the opportunity fund.
If I may, there is a possibility that we could lengthen this motion out in pending BND and the opportunity fund, and I guess probably city legal, making sure that technically qualifies as community support. Just checking all those boxes to make sure that the Vision Fund would be able to administer that support. But then this scoring matrix could also be used by just the Vision Fund. But as of right now, that power is still vested in the city commission for Bismarck.
Right. So if a project would come to you, you don't think it qualifies for the Vision Fund. Right now, the process would be you would just work directly getting it on the city commission.
Yeah. For example,
thing.
if something were to score a 7 or lower, I usually will then facilitate just going right toward the letter of support.
Okay, but the way this is proposed is then it would come to us first, and we would give guidelines and approval to go to city commission, just like if we were to approve something within the Vision Fund?
I think right now, as it stands, it would not. It would just go right to city commission. The reason I brought it to you all is to have some city input on it before and kind of generating it and then coming up to either you guys or city commission with the finalized one.
Yeah, I think it would make more sense just go. I mean, it's going to add another step to come to us. I would say just go straight to the city commission. It's great that you would do another scoring matrix, I think, because that would give at least the city commissioners guidelines and guardrails on how it scores within in that realm. So
if I can speak to this, and this is, I think Noah was taking a stab at something because he was trying to address some concerns that probably aren't Vision Fund directly related, but we've had the last 2 meetings, I believe, maybe more than that in a row, where there's been a letter of support on the consent agenda for the city commission that has been pulled for further discussion and vote because there are individuals. This is a letter of support. There's zero local dollars being involved, and it's just supporting the business to go to the North Dakota Opportunity Fund to get matching dollars related to the flex base. And I don't even know. We don't have to do anything on this. I think maybe he wanted to bring this forward. I said, go ahead. I actually am probably more inclined to say that, Noah and I and Brenda and Jason need to have a further conversation about how those are further presented on the city commission. But certainly if this vision fund wants to be able to make a recommendation that to the city commission that we think a letter of support is appropriate, then the scoring matrix probably has more value to the vision fund committee. Again, I don't think we need to take or should take necessarily any action today on this. I'd like to have Mike Freilich in the room as well. But I think, I know if I'm speaking on a term, I think you're trying to solve a problem. Or maybe it isn't a problem. You're just trying to come up with a solution in advance of a problem.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, I agree with tabling this discussion for today. I think we can revisit in May from there and see if this is a problem that needs to be fixed by Vision Fund or if it's a separate one. I'll kind of leave that to your guys' judgment on that piece for if this is addressed separately.
Yes, we can have those discussions in between then and now as well.
Great. Thank you, though, Noah, for all your work
Of
to
course.
get this stuff down on paper and keep moving things forward. Item number 10, any other business? Okay, meeting adjourned.